Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Gould. On my left is Ryan Pike, and welcome to another edition of Mike Gould is Really, Really Dumb. We are sorry we're a little bit late. It is entirely my fault. And it just goes to show that showing up to a studio with the wrong keys and being unable to get into the studio with our buddy Ryan Pike, where we would have had beautiful high-fidelity video feeds, consistent sound mixing, just all that stuff really just is impossible when you just don't have the ability to get in. And it's Pike, having worked together now for almost 5 years. Do you agree that I'm just completely unreliable and just a guy who just can't be counted upon to get us where we need to be?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, guys. I'm here. I'm Mike Gould, wearing my St. John Flames jersey. I was so ready for the studio lighting to put this thing in its full glory, and now I'm sitting here and you can barely even tell that I'm wearing it. But the Calgary Flames lost to the New York Islanders 3-2, and we're late, and it's my fault. And I'm sorry, everybody. But here we are. We are here on this Saturday night. It is technically the weekend of St. Patrick's Day celebrations, and the Calgary Flames unfortunately ran out of luck on this Saturday as they tried to mount a comeback. They played well in period number 3. They outshot the Islanders by a decent amount. They got goals from two of their most veteran forwards, a veteran winger and a veteran center. And in the end, David Riddick got his first win in 7 tries against the team that helped usher him into the National Hockey League in the late 2010s. Riddick improves to 1-4-2 in his career against the Calgary Flames and helps the Islanders win this game by a 3-2 final score. The Flames fall to 1-3 on this 5-game road swing, which will conclude in Detroit on Monday. Pike, the Calgary Flames were behind in this one, pretty quickly, 3-0 after 2 periods of play. Derek Wills summed it up very nicely on the radio broadcast when he said that in a season like this, it's nice to have some entertaining hockey. And in the first 40 minutes of this game, we didn't get it. And does that match your assessment of what we saw in those first 2 periods?
I mean, they played a good third period. They were kind of bad in the first period. They were okay in the second period. What's the old saying? They were bad enough that they fully earned that 3-0 deficit they were in after 20. They weren't all that good. I feel bad for Devin Cooley, who got the hook after 20 minutes. 3 goals on 10 shots, not on Cooley. It was a second, maybe third chance in front on a goal mouth scramble that Casey Cizikas jams in. A 2-on-1 rush play after a failed power play that Holmstrom scores on, and then a shorthanded rush play that Holmstrom scores on. So you would love if on one of those last 2, Cooley could do something heroic. But if we're going to be blunt here, it's your backup goalie on the 4th game of a road trip on Long Island against a team that played the night before and lost. You made it too easy for them early, and then they basically just threw into cruise control in the second period. And then it wasn't until the third that we saw any signs of life from the road team. So, it's hard to win in the National Hockey League when you play 20 minutes.
It sure is. Cooley gets yanked after allowing 3 goals on 10 shots over 18:43 in the first period. He gives up goals, a couple to Simon Holmstrom, who ends up getting credited with the winner, and one to Casey Cizikas. Those 2 were named the first and second stars of this game, respectively. And you kind of said it, Pike. It's hard to fault Devin Cooley too much, especially, considering some of the breakdowns that occurred in front of him. And the Flames, they do make this at least a little bit more interesting. As we said, period number 3, they outshoot New York 17-9. And in the end, they just couldn't get it done. And if you are looking at this from a tank standpoint, from an opportunity of trying to get, feels like I've said that 40,000 times here. If you're looking at this from a tank standpoint, if you're looking at it that way, though, the Flames do get a little bit of help on the out-of-town scoreboard. with victories from the New York Rangers today, beating the Minnesota Wild 4-2 despite being outshot 48-18. A victory from the Winnipeg Jets, who beat the Colorado Avalanche 3-1 despite being outshot 29-18. In the end, the Flames do outshoot the Islanders 32-27, but they end up on the wrong side of this one. And as we mentioned at the top of every Afterburner show, but this one was a little bit different because it's a brief edition of Mike Gould is Very Dumb. But now that we're in the real show, Afterburner is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it is truly never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. Use the code NATION. And also, if you want to get your comment read on today's show, just send us a super chat. Proceeds from the super chat go to the Youth Centers of Calgary, a place where kids are welcome, accepted as they are, a place where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is the reality for many of their lives, and they can flourish through connections and fun. I should submit a super chat, and then I should also pay about a super chat's worth of money to get a second key to the studio. But in any event, here we are, Pike. And the Flames now have one more game left on this road trip in Detroit, which is looking increasingly more and more like a winnable game on this trip, with the Red Wings continuing to struggle of late. But as we sit here with how many games left in this season, 18, 19 games left in the season for the Calgary Flames now, 18, or less than that, 16 games. Good Lord, it's going by quick. Boomer asked me a question on a recent show. How many more games will the Flames win this season? And they've got
all of them
games.
They're going to run the table. 16 left. They're going to win them all.
You really think so, hey?
No. They might, they maybe 6.
Yeah. I think that's maybe a little, yeah, 6 of 16. I mean, what's that? Like a 333 save percentage or a winning percentage, maybe a little bit lower? Like, oof.
Well,
yeah, it's
well. When we get to the road ahead, we can go through the remaining schedule and maybe cherry pick games we think are winnable. But yeah, it's gonna be challenging.
Well, here we sit now, and we're about to see Chicago take the ice against the Vegas Golden Knights, a game that we really hope Chicago wins for a multitude of reasons. But it wasn't long ago we were sitting here, Pike, and saying the Flames, in order to get a guaranteed shot at a top 5 draft pick this year, they would need some things to go right. And there were a lot of teams, it wasn't long ago that they were sitting 5th from last in the standings. They were sitting in 28th, 29th. And now here we are, and there's starting to be a little bit more separation that is opening up after this game. 59 points in 66 games. That is a .447 winning percentage. And that is a full 22 points below Chicago before today's game. That is a full 38 points below St. Louis. St. Louis now is 5 points up with the same number of games played. Winnipeg is 5 points up with a game in hand. The New York Rangers are 5 points up with the same number of games played. It is really, really starting to look like, and knock on wood, but it's really starting to look like this will be the year the Calgary Flames get their second ever top 5 draft pick.
The Calgary Flames, yeah, but I mean,
I said the Calgary Flames.
This is Jacques Richard erasure, and I won't stand for it.
Tom Lysiak erasure, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know. They've just let's be honest. I mean, this is the first time in Calgary Flames, maybe I would say this is the first time in Flames history that they've done a conscious uncoupling, a conscious teardown. Because for those of you who are unfamiliar, Flames are a 72 expansion team. From 72 until 91, the man we affectionately call Trader Cliff, the great Cliff Fletcher, basically traded everyone every couple years. He took a team that was very bad in the expansion year, relied on some good draft picks, and kept getting a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, to the point where they were a playoff team when they arrived from Atlanta. The first couple of years, in the Corral years, they won playoff rounds. They were a persistent playoff team and a very tough out in the second round. And then by the time they got to the Saddledome, he kept making moves. And this is a team that played conference finals in 86 and 89, won the cup in 89, was still pretty good. For those of you unfamiliar with awkward economic talk, The Canadian dollar absolutely shattered in value in the early 90s at the same time that the NHLPA really started flexing its muscles in terms of getting payrolls up. So you're the Flames and you're taking in 65 cents for every dollar in US dollars, and then you are paying that a full dollar in Canadian dollars to your player, or the US dollars to your players. So the Flames had to tear down, out of necessity, sheer economic necessity, a championship level team in the early 90s. They did not draft well enough to backfill, and between that and the travel and the dollar, and the saddle was starting to get old at that point. It's even older now, but the Young Guns era was a period of misery, and it wasn't really something the Flames did on purpose, but it was something that was more or less done to them.
It was a byproduct.
It was a byproduct of economics. They had to sell off, bless their heart, they got really good value for Joe Nieuwendyk. They got pretty good value for Theo Fleury. They got Rob McGear and stuff. But for most of their core pieces, if you're someone who grew up on that 1980s team, the 90s were slow motion dismantling for pennies on the dollar of a team that you loved.
And then Phil Housley?
And then you had to watch a team that was not even, on purpose, but just a team that was challenging to watch on a lot of levels throughout the 90s. They got good again in the 2000s. Harley Hotchkiss, behind the scenes, helped lobby the league for currency equalization in the early 2000s and late 1990s. We still had the Save the Flames campaign then. And then after the lockout, put in the salary cap. Then finally, after 15, 16 years, the Flames were finally on an even footing. And then they were actually kind of decent for about 10 years. So this is in 2026. You can argue it started in 2023. The first time the Flames have gotten younger and dismantled the team on purpose with a plan for trying to get better long term. And so it's going to be a process. We're going to have some nights like this, or some nights like this road trip we've seen, where they're not all that bad, but there are some deficiencies that other teams take advantage of. But yeah, that's your history lesson. And that is me just saying they're going to get there, hopefully. But a high draft pick, if you're drafting, I'd say they're not going to finish first. They're not going to finish 32nd. That's just flat out not happening. With some draft lottery luck, they could finish first. Worst case, if they finish 31st, worst case, they draft fourth. If you're drafting somewhere between first and fourth in this year's draft, you're probably going to feel pretty okay about how you end up. Especially, at this point, the Vegas pick, if Vegas keeps, going all over the place this year, maybe that Vegas pick is pretty good too. They got Cole Rezny last year at 18, and I'm thinking we're all fairly happy with how Cole Rezny has panned out so far. So you're going to get perhaps a Cole Rezny level prospect at the Vegas pick, and then you're going to get someone, bless your heart, no, this isn't meant to be throwing shade at Cole Rezny. You're probably going to get someone better than Cole Rezny at 4-1. So, and then you get something, get a high pick or two next year, and then you're cooking, as they say. But this year, next 16 games could be kind of rough. And then maybe 82 rough games next year, or 84 rough games next year, and then we'll see how it goes.
Pike, what do you mean the 90s were bad for the Flames? I mean, they were able to stock their cupboard so well that they won the Calder Cup in 2001 with this logo on their farm team. Look at that. Isn't that perfect?
Well, Michael, how many of those? Hold on. I'm going to pull up the
you
2001.
don't have to pull it up. I can say that Marty Murray led that team in scoring. They
not
had
a Flames draft pick.
Rico Fata and Danny Tkachuk were on that team, both big busts. Derek Moore.
That's
Derek
injury
Morris,
and injury right there.
Sure. Derek Morris played 3 games for that team. Their goalies were Marty Brochu and Levante Zuper. Neither was a Flames pick.
Levante Zuper was a Flames pick. He was a fourth rounder. He was the best Hungarian player in NHL history.
He's from Budapest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that team was a treasure. And hey, I love the jerseys. I had to get one.
We're aware.
Hmm?
We're aware that you have fondness for that jersey.
It's great. It's a great jersey. So the Flames tonight, Pike, they concede the first goal of this game to sort of the Islanders' Backlund equivalent in a certain extent, although not quite the offensive presence, but Casey Zizekas looking like it tonight for sure. Ends up being named the game's second star and scores a pretty nice goal off of a persistent drive to.
No, and I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're Cooley, what are you supposed to do with this kind of? There's so many guys in home sweaters right around your net, and no one in a white jersey can do much to really corral this one or get it out of harm's way. You make the first save, you kind of make a second save, and then it's just bouncing around, and no one can get it. So, it is what it is.
Shortly thereafter, newly acquired Islanders forward Braden Shen picking up the assist on Simon Holmstrom's.
He's been one of the better stories for the Flames this year. So I just felt like he got kind of hung out to dry on this one and the next one.
And goal number 3 for the Islanders. I mean, Pike, I talked about it a little bit on the Warmies. I want to talk about it a little bit again on this show. But the Flames have one defenseman right now who makes sense as a power play quarterback, and it's Zane Parekh, who did not have a very good first period. But they pulled out the 5 forward second unit again. And again, it's just an instance of what would you stand to lose by putting Hunter Brzustewicz on this unit with 4 forwards. And I thought Sharangovich had a good first period. He had a number of good looks, but he fans on the shot of the point, and it comes back the other way.
And then, we've seen Hanley and Parekh play pretty decent hockey together. I mean, Hanley's like a metronome. There's nothing bad, or he's the only problem. The problem I think anyone has with Joel Hanley is just he's not an exciting player, but he's a third pairing left shot D. You put him with your exciting third pairing defenseman, and he just helps calm things down when you need him to. So I think at home, yeah, you can probably pull him out, and then maybe you put Mata back on the left, and then then you have to sort of shift things around a bit. Maybe you go Mata. I don't know. They tried to really. It looked like they really tried to avoid putting Mata with Parekh when they had to roll 5 defensemen at home that last game when Whitecloud went down. So maybe that's just something they're just trying to avoid doing for stylistic reasons. So that's sort of making it a little bit tougher for them to work some guys in. But I don't know. They got AD, and I think, bless his heart, Brzustewicz is second-year pro. I don't think he was amazing during his last stretch with the Wranglers. He wasn't bad, but he was also, for a guy who played in the NHL, I think they were everything a lot of folks were hoping for him to sort of be a hop on my back and dragging you guys to the to the playoffs or to wins or whatever, the way that Matvei Gridin has been. And I think relative to other players on the Wranglers, I think Gridin was more of a difference maker than Brzustewicz was. So I don't know. I still like both players. I still really like Brzustewicz, but right now I think you want to ease him in a little bit, and then especially once you're at home, when you have the control of everything, and you're pretty sure that Whitecloud's at fully back up to speed, and you're pretty sure that you have all the guys you want, then I think you roll. But I don't know. What do you think? Ball Parekh, Kuznetsov,
here's the one thing.
And who's your third pair?
Well, here's the thing, though, because we might see something happen out of circumstance in the Detroit game at the end of this trip, which is coming up on Monday, because they noted this on the broadcast. Yan Kuznetsov played 10 seconds in the last 6 minutes of this game. He left, he came back for 10 seconds, and then he left again very quickly. So not sure what was up there with number 37. We obviously just saw Zach Whitecloud leave for 3 games and then come back. So, the thing that is curious to me, and obviously there's a way that they can do this by just putting Braden Hall back in, but I just don't get having 4 lefties and 2 righties. Like, to me, I just don't understand why you would go that way instead of just having 3 natural pairings. But yeah, it's something to watch for sure as they head into Detroit on Monday.
He had one 10-second shift, but at the same time, like Whitecloud only played 51 seconds. So like it wasn't like that. It, at least without any extra contextual information, it does basically seem like how you would use like White Cloud and Kuznetsov are your D zone D guys. And so you're trying to tie the game. You're pulling the goalie for the extra attacker. They wouldn't be out anyway. So I don't know. I know the broadcast said that Kuznetsov sort of left and then came back and then left again. White Cloud also didn't play a hell of a lot. So I don't know precisely what we should take from that.
But here's the other thing: is that White Cloud and like that was the start of a shift. That was a face-off, and they both went out at the same time. But Kuznetsov left after 10 seconds, and White Cloud kept playing for 51.
Maybe he got a phone call.
Sure, well,
you know how hard it is to find a decent cell service in Russia. Maybe his parents were calling.
Oh my!
Telling him to have a good game.
That's worse. That's a very, I don't know where you're getting that from. Anyway, the Calgary Flames do get on the board in this one. Oli Mata's on-ice shooting percentage run continues ever since he joins the Flames. He's got 4 points in 5 games. And he fires a nice little slapper that Michael Backlund is able to deflect past David Riddick, ending his shutout bid after 42 minutes. And
he's been really good. He's now, he's passed the Magic Man, Kent Nilsson, a guy who, bless his heart, I love Kent Nilsson, could not play defense to save his life. I've never seen two players, both from the same country, with very close point totals for the Flames, but a completely different profile in terms of how they play. Backlund, multi-time Selke vote recipient. Kent Nilsson, I think if you put his name on your Selke ballot during the 80s, like they'd probably just send your ballot back and say, are you sure? He had many skills, and defensive hockey wasn't amongst them, and that eventually led to him being traded to Minnesota for a couple draft picks, one of which turned into Joe Nundyke. Whereas Michael Backlund's a guy that Flames brass valued enough that when he when he was thinking about going to free agency, I think about 7 or 8 years ago, 2 contracts ago, the story I was told is the analytics team basically ran the numbers and went to Treliving and said, okay, if he walks, here's all the things you need to replace. You can't do all this in one player. You need to make some decisions. And so they went, let's just give him his money then. And I would argue it's turned out fairly well for everybody involved.
I would say so. There was a lot of discussion when Backlund first signed that extension of like, not necessarily from people in Calgary, but just from national media being like, is that guy really worth that money? And I think he would be very much worth that money. And the Flames will have him for at least the next 2 seasons. After this one, at what I think is a sweetheart cap hit, 3 1/4.
Oh, he's going to be underpaid for probably the rest of his career.
Of course. Well, who knows how long he'll stick around? I mean, he's a good player. He's a very, very good player, and
first or second in fitness testing the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, of course, he's a specimen.
We don't have fitness testing anymore, but
no. Who else is a specimen? Blake Coleman, his favorite winger, who was briefly tied with Michael Backlund for first on the Flames in scoring before deciding to pull ahead by 1 goal yet again. Coleman picking up a pass from...
Very quietly been one of the better rookie defensemen in the league. I believe with this assist, he's got 12 points now, so he's part of a cluster of fairly interesting young defensemen, around that neighborhood for points. Matthew Robertson of the Rangers, Nashville's Adam Wilsby, Sam Rinzel from Chicago, Ian Moore, who's also a forward, so I don't know if we can count him. They have a nice little cluster of guys, and also the only defenseman in the NHL, rookie defenseman in the NHL, not named Matthew Schaefer, averaging 20 minutes of ice time a night. So he doesn't have the sexy offensive numbers, so I don't think we're going to hear him anywhere near anyone's Calder ballots, but he's also been sneaky. He's been so effective for the Flames in a defensive role. And, it's so tough. We always joke about, players having an identity. Sort of Blake Coleman has an identity. So even if Blake Coleman's fighting it, Blake Coleman knows what he needs to give the team. So he's always bringing, some version of that to just a question of, can he hit all the things he wants to do in a game? Kuznetsov, for a guy who has barely played NHL hockey up until this year, he played 1 game up until this year. His game, he came in with an identity. I think he's done a really nice job refining it this year.
Yeah, I agree. I know you have made some noise about, thinking about putting Kuznetsov on your all-rookie team ballot. And I I don't think it is a Homer-ish thing to do. I think there is some real merit to the idea. I mean, it's going to be tough, I think, for him to unseat Alexander Nikishin just in Carolina on a certain basis of just maybe pure name recognition and goal
Nikishin has
scoring
more
ability.
points, I guess.
Yeah,
Like if we're going by
but
points, Kuznetsov is tied for 8th.
yeah,
But
so I think like there's other aspects to the game, and I think it's a very valid point of discussion. Yeah, I mean he's done a good job as a relatively unheralded player who has found his niche in the NHL this season, and will
just imagine they could. I mean, he had played one NHL game, so that's probably the answer as to how the hell he got through waivers.
Yeah,
But he was really good. Like we talked about Hunter Brustevich. Hunter Brustevich in his second year in the NHL is playing a lot of NHL hockey, and he's going to play more this year. He's going to play even more next year, probably. Hunter Brustevich is in his second year of pro. He went from being kind of okay as like a perfectly acceptable AHL defenseman, nothing special in October of last year, to very quickly being really, really, really good. And he was playing with Yen Kuznetsov, the defensive metronome, who I think allowed him to really find his comfort zone. And I think it's kind of cool that both of these guys are in the NHL together and they played a game together and hopefully they get more together. I just think it's kind of fun that, we talk about having guys who can help players. I mean, Kuznetsov's a guy that I think flat out helped Brustevich blossom this quickly and get to the NHL. And he does also kind of feel like a guy that you could put with any number of young defensemen in the Flame system in the coming years. And he might not be the sexiest defenseman in the year, but like think Robin McGear made a absolute career as being a guy that played just mean, unsexy defensive hockey and was so good at that he made the Olympic team. So hopefully Kuznetsov has that kind of potential.
Really great comment coming in. This is one of my favorite comments of the season from Cat in the Hat 1111. Yasmin, you might have to scroll up a little bit, but we got to get this one on the screen. It's just too good to miss. Pike, you were talking about Kent Nilsson and his career with the Calgary Flames, the Minnesota North Stars, and eventually the Edmonton Oilers. But here's one, Cat in the Hat. Kent Wilson won his cup with the Oilers. Isn't that true?
I think that's Kent Nilsson.
we should tell Kent, our buddy Kent, that he's probably got a cup ring in the mail.
Yeah, the Magic Man won his cup with the Edmonton Oilers, and his son Robert was drafted by the Oilers, I believe, and also played coincidentally a bit with the New York Islanders, I believe.
I just took a photo of that. I'm going to send it to Kent right after we're done on the show. That is just so perfect. Fun fact, true story, absolutely true story. In the 80s, there was a cookbook, a Calgary Flames cookbook published named called Flaming Foods. And it was a cookbook that had like recipes. I think everybody on the team submitted a recipe for the cookbook, and it was published, and it went to local bookstores. And one day, my mom and I, we were just out shopping. We were at a thrift store of some sort, and my mom pulls a copy of this off the shelf, Flaming Foods. And there's some crazy recipes in it. There's like one that is like this stew that you make in like a big cauldron that requires like 40 pounds of meat or whatever. And inside the front cover, it says it's signed by Kent Nilsson's wife. It is Kent Nilsson's wife's copy of Flaming Foods, and I have it at home. And during the summer, we are going to make some Flaming Foods. That is a promise. That is a edition. That is a special edition of the Back Burner coming to YouTube channels near you. True story, though. Pike, you don't seem that moved.
I need to see this cookbook now. I need to see this cookbook, and we need to find a kitchen. Like, I don't know where we'd go. Be with the folks at Sate, because Sate has a kitchen you can film in. I think.
You know what, the Stampede, how they have the kitchen theater.
Yeah.
We'll just rent out the kitchen theater. We'll have Barn Burner live on location, and we'll make Flaming Foods.
I know Atco in the summer they have their kitchens too. Well, we'll talk to some people. I think we can. If anyone who runs a fine establishment that has a kitchen that we can film in, talk to us and we'll talk to the Wolverine and set something up, because we need to do something. We're going to branch out into other kinds of content over the summer.
Yeah, we got Kent Nilsson's wife's cookbook that we gotta make some items out of. I don't know if we have Kent Wilson's cookbook, but we have Kent Nilsson's cookbook.
Masked Man 2929 suggests do it at Rhett's place.
That's a good idea.
I don't know if Rhett would want that many of us in his house.
I think they should do a 2004 roster cookbook.
I don't know if Rhett would want Mike in his house.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's mean. Rhett's a nice guy. We get along fine. Come on. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So on the out of town, some games still going live right now. Columbus and Philly are in a shootout. Lots of stuff going on as far as the Eastern Conference playoff race is concerned. The Detroit Red Wings are on a real slide. They're tied 2-2 with Dallas right now, late in the third. But if Columbus wins this game, they will briefly move into a tie with Detroit for the last playoff spot in the East. That's crazy since Rick Bowness took over. Utah up 2-0 on Pittsburgh right now. Vegas just took a 1-0 lead on Chicago. Not great. Vancouver just tied the Seattle Kraken at 1. So lots of interesting stuff on the out-of-town scoreboard. And
I think everyone's hoping, every Flames fan is hoping that the Canucks go on a bit of a heater, but that's such a big gap between 32 and everyone else that, like, they can go on a heater in terms of winning out, and the Flames could win like 2 games and finish ahead of them. Like, it's just there's such a big gap there.
Well, and as I was going to say, is that there are currently NHL games taking place as we speak right now in 5 different cities: in Vegas, in Vancouver, in Salt Lake City, in Dallas, and in Philadelphia. And I bet you, with enough time to prepare and with enough resources and with enough know-how, which he has in spades, Derek Newman could get you a spot in any of those places. And I bet you, if you have a spot, if you have a home, if you have a townhouse, if you have a condo, I'm sure he could help you sell it in any of those places. But of course, we're in Calgary. And there's so many fertile neighborhoods to set seeds, plant seeds, put down some roots in. And if you want to do that, just call Derek. It is the Derek Newman Group, DERRICK, with over $100 million in real estate sold. Derek's clients enjoy his no-pressure consultative approach to achieving their real estate goals. He's a long-suffering Flames fan. He's eternally optimistic. He's not fully on Team Tank, but he also understands the sentiment behind it. Let's just say it. Derek Newman gets it. And hey, this is great from the chat. Asked at MaskedMan2929. I hired Derek this week. How about that? Talk about testimonials. We got him live in the chat. And I bet you MaskedMan2929 either went to DerekNewmanGroup.com or called him at 403-619-6661. Pike, can you attest Derek is good people?
Yes, and I betcha if you call that number, it's not some sort of underling, some sort of administrator. I think a good deal of the time, it's Derek himself answering the phone, answering the emails. You know, he's very hands-on, very, very personable, very detail-oriented. Yeah, Derek's good people.
Well, Pike, here's what I will say is that 403-619-6661 is probably my second favorite phone number. And my favorite phone number is probably the emergency Holland Oats hotline, 719-26-OATS. Have you ever called it?
No.
It's so good. It'll be like, this is Colin Oates, plus press 1 for private eyes, plus 2 for, what are some other Holland Oats? Man-eater, press 3 for rich girl. It's perfect. So once you're done calling Derek Newman, just call the Hall & Oates hotline. That didn't really go anywhere, but
as you're talking about Hall & Oates, I'm on NHL.com just scrolling and looking at the results so far. Various Flames players have been traded to different teams this year, and so far, I mean, Rasmus Anderson is minus a lot. You know, his team, only four games in. Young Mackenzie Weegar is -2. He has, he's young 4 games, Weegar. Hard to really conclude much. Nazem Kadri, I believe, is in game 2, 3, 4. I think he's +2. He's got 2 points. So Kadri's doing good. I mean, he's also in a wagon, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Flames got a lot of picks, though. A lot of picks and a lot of prospects.
They do. Pike,
Are we gonna get into way too much college hockey discussion in a bit?
You read my mind. You truly did read my mind. I mean, I was sitting here ready to press the call button on Colin Oates, but we can get into that instead because that's actually relevant to the team that we're
I'm pretty
supposed
sure
to cover.
I'm pretty sure we get demonetized if we play certain music.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing is.
Welcome to Colin Oates, your emergency Hall and Oates helpline. To hear one-on-one, please press 1. To hear Rich Girl, please press 2. To hear Manita, please press 3.
I think we got to hear that.
To hear Privatize, please press.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, guess what?
We're getting past public use here, man.
All right, that's enough.
I
Guess
don't need
what?
to. We don't need to call all of our on-call lawyers and get more public domain
It's
law
okay.
for you.
It's okay. Derek Newman will sort it out. That's the Colin Oates. I don't even know why.
Just
we did
final in the Hockey East quarterfinals. Guess
Oh,
who's
Merrimack?
moving on? Guess who scored an overtime game winner to advance Merrimack College into the semifinal round past Providence College?
Is it our friend Trevor Hoskin?
Flames 4th round pick and very good young man, Trevor Hoskin, second year pro, top 3 or second year college player. I believe he was top 3 or 4 in terms of points per game, depending if you're looking at conference play and non-conference play. They're moving on to the conference finals by virtue, or conference semifinal, by virtue of a 3-2 overtime win. They were the lower seed, Providence, 5th ranked in the country, but an overtime win for Trevor Hoskin, and they're moving on.
He had a couple goals today, didn't he?
He had 2 goals last weekend. He had 1 goal today.
Okay.
I believe he had a goal in their the qualifying round. So, folks, if you're not familiar with college hockey, it's ridiculous, and that's why we love it. Every conference has a slightly different playoff format. Hockey East, because there's an odd number of teams, there's the first 14. I think there's a first round, a preliminary round, where they basically let 3 or 4 teams have the weekend off, and then everyone else plays. And then the winners of those first rounds play again. So the first round is, depending on the conference, sometimes the first round's multi-game, sometimes it's just one and done. And as a result, you just see the weirdest results possible. And so Mike was going to discuss some upsets we've seen, but I just want to make sure that we started with a happy upset. Merrimack College advancing.
Yeah, Providence was the number 5 team in the country. I mean, that is a big one for Merrimack.
And Trevor Hoskin, he missed some time with an injury earlier this year. Not too much time, thankfully. But last year we were pumping his tires because he was one of Atlantic Hockey America's best players. He won the Rookie of the Year in that conference, playing for Niagara. To be blunt, he was in a bad conference. He was a good player on an okay team in a bad conference. So it was easy to be like, This year he's a good player on a pretty good team in a really good conference. And they just upset the top 5 team in the country. So we want to give them their flowers because we got some gloomier news to get into, I think.
A little bit. Hey, that Merrimack team, Brooks Bandits Central with Kalen Fitzpatrick, Parker Lalonde, and Ethan Byer there. But yes, Pike, on the out of town in the NCAA sphere. A bit of a difficult weekend for certain Calgary Flames prospects. What we saw was Ethan Wittenbach and Quinnipiac not exactly having their moment in the sun. They lost 3-0 to Clarkson yesterday, and today they lose 4-3. They are done in the ECAC playoffs. They will likely be invited to the college hockey championship, the NCAA championship, on an at-large invite, being one of the top schools in the nation, but not exactly not exactly a ceremonious exit for the Bobcats against a Clarkson team that was not really ranked by most outlets heading into this one.
It is worth noting that Clarkson is Flames general manager Craig Conroy's alma mater, and so maybe Connie's feeling a little bit conflicted right now because, the Golden Knights advance. Wait, who they beat? Damn it. And they were in attendance on Friday night, a bunch of Flames brass to catch that game. Quinnipiac was – they just couldn't – they had a bunch of chances in the first game, couldn't bury anything. Second game, they were up 3-1, and then 2 shorthanded goals within the 35-second span tied the game, and then they lost the game-winning goal for Clarkson, scored a little bit after that. So an assist for young Ethan Wittenbach for his 58th point of his freshman year. They're the 11th ranked team. We'll get into the MPI. They replaced the pairwise with the MPI, which is basically the same thing. The way college hockey works is it's a 16-team tournament. The 6 conference winners automatically get in, and then they take the 10 best teams not already in via the MPI ranking. So nationally, Quinnipiac is 11th. Typically, there are only 2 teams from lower conferences. Usually it's Atlantic and one other one. I think the CCHA or whatever the hell it is this year. But there's two likely conference winners that are outside of the top 16. So realistically, if you're top 14 in the MPI, you're going to make it. So Quinnipiac is 11th. So they're most likely going to be in, as is another team that was knocked out of their conference playoffs this evening.
Indeed. A little bit of a surprise here. North Dakota losing 5-1, not even close, to Minnesota Duluth earlier today. Our buddy Cole Reshny did get an assist on the only goal in this game by Dylan James, but he still ended up a -2. 3 shots on goal, but it's the Plants, Max Plants and Zam Plant, all sort of coming together to make this one a big win for Minnesota Duluth, which advances to the NCHC final. It's again, though, we're going to see more of Cole Reshny, Abram Wiebe, Cade Littler. Their season is not over, as they will head on to the NCAA tournament as well. But
they're ranked 2 in the MPI. If they don't make it, then the system's broken. They should just shut down college hockey. They'll make it to the national tournament.
Exactly. So, some disappointing outcomes there for sure. But by the same token, good to see a guy like Trevor Hoskin, who probably a under the radar candidate to get an ELC from the Flames this spring.
We had another. So the other hockey, the other NCHC. No, it's Hockey East. The other Hockey East game. Is it hockey? No, it's NCHC.
No, it's Cornell. You're talking
ECAC,
about Cornell, right?
ECAC, yeah.
ECAC.
Cornell with Jonathan Castagna playing Aiden Lane's Harvard team. They've split the first 2 games. Harvard won the first game. Cornell won this evening 4-0. So they'll play Sunday. Winner goes on to the semifinal round next weekend. Cornell ranked 9th. So if Cornell loses, they'll probably go to the national tournament anyway. Harvard probably needs to advance all the way to. They need to win the conference tournament to make the national tournament. So Harvard playing for their playoff lives tomorrow, and that could be a fun game. I think it's an old-fashioned Ivy League clash between Big Red and the Crimson, 2 teams with very similar color palettes, and I'm sure 2 teams that just love beating each other.
Jason in the chat with some interesting discussion of a 2026 draft eligible defenseman in Keaton Verhoff. And, we'll have lots of time to talk about the 2026 draft class, especially after the draft lottery, once we know how things will indeed shake out for the Calgary Flames. And, with Keaton Verhoff, a guy who was in the WHL last year, and we saw a more direct ability to compare him with another WHL defenseman who's in the top 5, expected to be this year. Pike, if the Flames don't win the lottery this year, in all likelihood, it does feel like they will be in a good spot to take a defenseman with their top first-round pick. I mean, notwithstanding the possibilities of other forwards being in that range, but there's really a run on defensemen, maybe 3 or 4 of them right after the top 2 forwards we expect. And I am really starting to warm up to Carson Karls.
Carson Karls is very good. Our pal over at The Athletic, Corey Proman, sometimes a contrarian, but sometimes he's ahead of the curve, depending on your perspective. His first overall pick right now is Chase Reed. And I saw Chase Reed at the CHL USA Hockey Challenge. Really good. He stands out. He's a puck mover. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he at the World Juniors?
He was, for Team USA. And he looked good.
He looked good. So I think it's one of those cases where there's a lot of players that are playing their way into that sort of upper shelf of players. And I don't know, this year, this might be the one where I don't know if there's a runaway first overall player necessarily. I think it might just sort of be if you put True Serum into 30 different teams, you probably have a split between two or three players, and you might even have a three-way tie collectively between those players by the end of the year. But honestly, that's the kind of thing that makes the draft fun, because how many years have we sat down at the draft and been like, okay, draft starting, Flames pick or whatever, I'm just going to tune out for the first hour because I know that there's going to be no surprises. This year, I don't know definitively who's going 1. I don't know definitively who's going 2. I don't have I have a handle on these 10 guys will probably go somewhere in the top 10, but I kind of enjoy the uncertainty of not knowing what order and where they're going. So this is going to be, I think, the next few months for people like us who love to daydream and prognosticate and sort of sketch out the possibilities. There's a lot of things that could happen between now and June 27th, the first day of the draft.
Well, Ken in the chat really doesn't want another defenseman. He really wants a natural center. Probably a bad year to be in the market for a natural center at the draft, but we shall see.
They've already gotten so many centers. Craig keeps going to teams, and every time they're like, all right, let's make a trade, he's like flips the table and shouts, you give me Max Curran. I want a center, damn it. And they're like, he hurt his shoulder. I don't care. He's a center. We'll take him. Jonathan Castagna, NCHC first team All-Star. Very good player. Probably, people are really saying that he could be, it's a difference maker, but probably an NHL player, fairly definitively an NHL player.
Yeah.
Flipping the table. Give me Castagna. They got Tyson Gross, who is on the Flames roster right now, but doesn't yet have a number assigned because that's how new he is on the team. He's a guy that I think has turned a lot of heads. So I would say they've done enough things that you would look, if there's a bona fide center, if you fall in love with a center, I think you can take a center and not feel like you're blocking anybody necessarily. If there's a winger there, if you're 2 and you have to quote unquote settle for Stenberg, I don't think you're going to be like, God damn it, Swedish winger back on Conmentrum. Damn, this is a terrible situation to be. And if you have to quote unquote settle for Chase Reed or Keaton Verhoff or Carson Karls or 2 or 3 other guys on the blue line in that ledge, this is a kind of draft where I don't know if you're going to get a franchise altering, you went from 0 to 60 kind of player, but you're going to get someone that helps you in a lot of different ways.
My contention this year, and it is still very early, and this is going to sort of answer a little bit of the discussion in the chat about Caleb Malhotra, who I think is a good prospect. But this is a year where I personally would be a little wary of drafting any centers because we see it on occasion. Centers are sometimes, it's not even that they're overvalued. It is just that they are so heavily prioritized in the draft that in years like this one, where there is maybe a little less depth at the position, guys get overpicked, and you get a guy who maybe in a normal year would be a 10 to 15 range player who goes at 4. And we've seen that a few times in the Jesperi Kotkaniemi year. That is the one that always comes to my mind, where he was drafted because he was the best center in the class, and he was drafted at 3. And we will always see centers going in the top 10. But you're graving on a certain curve, I find sometimes. And I just don't see any centers in this draft right now who, to me, at least look like future top line forwards yet. But maybe that comes to fruition later. We'll see.
And there's one college game that's ongoing right now with the Flames prospect involved. Eric Jameson's Denver. They pulled their goalie, tied it with a few minutes left against Western Michigan, and they're currently in overtime 1-1. So
nice.
We'll see if we get a winner there. Eric Jameson, I know we kind of forgot about him because he's a late round pick as an overager. His draft plus 1 year, he was partnered with Everett as the captain with Landon DuPont, and they were phenomenal together. Just such a great stylistic fit, and I think it speaks to the level of trust the coaching staff had with him, where they had an exceptional status player who was great offensively, and they didn't know how good he'd be defensively, and they put Jameson with him as sort of a steady Eddie guy, and he had great offensive numbers too. They had a great year together. He goes to Denver, a good program. They've had a good year. He's been a top pairing guy for half the year, second pairing guy for the other half of the year, along with fellow Flames prospect Cole Rezhny, an NCHC all rookie team member, quietly one of the better defensemen in this conference, one of the best rookie defensemen in the nation. So we'll see. I feel like we always forget about Eric Jamieson because the Flames have a lot of defensemen who are sexy puck moving types, and those guys deserve the props. Again, we forget about Henry Muse, who unfortunately was a very good power play player with a wagon of a team in Michigan and got hurt, unfortunately, in kind of a fluke injury. He'll be back next year. We forget about Cullen Potter, who, again, also kind of got hurt in kind of a fluke injury. He'll be back next year, probably in college again. Karan, back to college. They're so deep. It's a shame the Flames don't have any prospects, Mike. But I think with Jamieson, he's been such a useful player, capital U useful, for Denver this year, even when he has been scoring, that I think we're going to hear about him at some point in the next few years in terms of starting to make a push within the Flame system, because he's just good. Like they're gonna have so many tough decisions to make in the next few years. Like they're gonna have to find places possibly elsewhere for some really good young players, because they're just not going to be able to develop them all internally.
Well, Pike, on the basketball side, they call this month March Madness. On the hockey side, at the end of all of this, it ends up being the Frozen Four. And at the GMC side, it ends up being called Truck Month, where over at GMC, the Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab is now available at 0% financing for 72 months. It's got a 2-inch factory lift with off-road suspension and a 5.3-liter V8 engine. A V8. There's hardly any V6s around anymore, and they got a V8 in this thing. And so head on down to wherever your nearest GMC source is, try it out, and see what the Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab can do for you in this truck month. The Flames kind of need a player with a V8 engine in them to push them forward. In Tyson Gross's case, it might be a V89, to answer a question in the chat. That's probably the number that he would start out with the Calgary Flames. It was his development camp number a few years ago, and his
can he live up to the legacy of Alan Quine
or Nikita Nesterov? Remember that?
No. It was that year. No one remembers that year. We pretend that year didn't happen.
Remember all the players. That is a quintessential remember when that guy played for the Flames year, because they had Josh Levo and Dominic Simone, and that was the one game that Artem Zagadulin played for the Flames.
I believe Louis Dominguez.
The Louis Domingue year. Yeah, that was a super weird year.
Louis Dominguez YouTube channel with his cooking videos. Sneaky good. He's got a presence and a very affable energy to him. So
yeah,
that's your cheap plug. Look up Louis Dominguez cooking videos. They're pretty fun.
This is a good question from Ascending Horizons. What numbers are left that have never been used? Not that many.
What do you mean never?
By the Flames, I think.
Like in what situation? Because they've pretty much used everything in training camp.
I get it, but that's not what they're NHL regular season games or playoff games. And just going through them, we'll go from the top to the bottom here. 99 has not and will never be used. 97 has never been used. All the other numbers in the 90s have now been used. Victor Olofsson, wearing number 95, finished that particular board.
It would be kind of funny if they gave Tyson Gross 97.
That would be funny.
I don't know if that's fair to the kid, but it'd be funny.
Actually, check that. I don't think anybody's ever worn number 90 for the Calgary Flames. 89 has been used. 88, obviously, Mangiapane used. Nobody's ever worn 87 for the Flames. 86, Josh Juras.
87 is Parker Bell's training camp number.
Okay. I don't think anybody's ever worn 85 or 84 or 83. 82 was Jordan Osterley, I think.
That's also Stockselius' number.
Yeah. 81, Dominic Simone. 80, I don't think anybody's ever worn it for the Flames. 79, they had Furland.
Woodenback's number.
Yeah, 78. I don't think they've ever had anybody. Okay. 78.
I have my tracker.
78. If Brennan Othman ever makes the NHL with the Flames, he'll probably wear 78. That's what he's worn with Hartford and with the Rangers. I think that's what he's assigned.
There's a few guys that sort of have numbers doubled up.
Obviously, I forgot number 80, Dan Vladar. Duh. Stupid. 77, Jankowski. 76. Oh, boy. I don't think they've ever had a 76. 75, I don't think so. 74. 73, they had Toffoli, obviously. Anybody else in the 70s? 72, 71. 70, they had Domingue.
They got to give Carter King a new number because he had 95 in training camp, but Victor Olofsson has that now.
Marty Pospisil wears number 76, obviously. I forgot that. This is
gotta
totally
give
off
number
the
two.
dome.
They got to give Weeb a new number. White doesn't have a number yet. Castagna doesn't have a number. Max Coran doesn't have a number.
They've never had a guy named wear 69. They had Yager wear 68.
Someone has to wear 69 just so that fans can sort of have fun with that.
Only 2 players in NHL history have worn number 69. Andrew Desjardins wore it for the San Jose Sharks, and Mel Angelstad wore it for the Washington Capitals, and that's it.
Remember the year that TJ Brody made the team out of camp wearing 66, and a non-insignificant portion of the fan base freaked out because they thought it was disrespectful that they had assigned Mario Lemieux's number in training camp, despite the fact that pretty much every team assigns 66 at various points because it's the number that's available.
Yeah, but I remember the Penguins and their media and their fans just getting absolutely apoplectic about it. Obviously, Frolik wore 67. Brody wore 66. I think Turner Elson wore number 65.
He did.
Garnet Hathaway wore number 64. Bennett wore number 63.
I believe Stromgren wore 65 too.
Yeah, Bennett wore 63. I think they've definitely had a 62. I just can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
Andrei Nazarov.
Yes, and I think maybe somebody else too. Like, Miramanov, of course, duh. 61. Yeah, I've pulled up the list now.
I think Fatima was 61.
What?
Fatima might have been 61 at some point.
Kulak wore 61. Backlund wore 60. Vander Gulick and Reinhardt. Like, I think we're at the point now where pretty much every number has been worn.
And worn by an obscure but also memorable young player. I'm a big fan of players getting called up late in the year, and then you're like, what number are they? Who? Owen Say, actually. Here's a trivia question. So Owen Say, during his one day in the NHL this year, when he got $4,000 for coming up and sitting on the bench when Devin Cooley was just
he wore
absolutely he wore 82.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm stupid.
He wore 82, and poor Devin Cooley. Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer the question, this was a fun rabbit hole. The only numbers in Flames history that have not been worn are 0 and 00. They've only been.
We have a winner in Denver and in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's Denver.
Oh, really?
Denver has toppled Western Michigan. Denver will move on to the conference semifinal round of the NCHC next weekend.
There you go.
Overtime winner.
I should say 0 and 00 have never been worn by a Calgary Flames player. But 0 has been worn by a Flames player playing somewhere else. Neil Sheehy wore number 0 while playing with the Hartford Whalers and got into a couple of fights with it. But
now a famous agent.
Yes, now he is. And now 69, 72, 74, 75, 83, 84, 85, and then 90 and 97 and 99.
So Minnesota, Duluth, and Denver next Saturday for the conference championship of the NCHC. I thought it was a semifinal round next weekend. It's the final round. They're already and I think next Sunday, either next Sunday or the weekend. No, it's next Sunday. It's Selection Sunday for the NCAA National Tournament.
By the way, Pike, Vegas is up 3-0 on Chicago now. Rasmus Anderson has scored in that game for the Vegas Golden Knights, so good for him. Good for you. Razzle dazzle.
He was a good flame. I always enjoyed Rasmus.
Yaz, I don't know if you got the message that I sent you. Do you have those images on the ready? Pike, I've got a secret image to put up on the show. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. It's Flaming Foods. Check this out. A cookbook of enjoyable recipes by your Calgary Flames families. And Yaz, do you have the inside
oil notebook?
Yeah. Look at that. It's Barit Nilsson. I was not joking. 0% joking. My sister was watching the show and she sent this to me. So, how about that? Flaming Foods.
And they have a little table set up over the net.
And they got Lanny. Look at Lanny.
That's adorable. That's just good artwork.
And that is original. That is Kent Nilsson's wife. So that, talk about Flames memorabilia, right?
Robert Nilsson's mom.
Absolutely.
So you're telling me that former NHL Robert Nilsson probably ate these meals because his mom made them?
Guarantee it.
That's kind of delightful.
Isn't that awesome?
This is a fun rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's fun. All right. And what is this? Okay, I'm going to send one more photo to you, Yasmin, and I do have a recipe from this cookbook that we will put up on the show in a moment here. But before we get to that, Pike, we should take on the road ahead, which is brought to you by your Prairie Toyota dealers. If you're looking to dominate off the ice as much as your team does on it, check out the Toyota Tacoma. With its standard I-Force engine, the Tacoma delivers serious capability, including towing power of up to 6,400 pounds or 27 Adam Klapkas, making it the most powerful Tacoma ever. So if you're hauling gear to the rink or heading out on a road trip for an away game, the Tacoma is ready for it. Visit shoptoyota.ca during Red Tag days from March through May. And Pike, the Calgary Flames wrapping up their 5-game Eastern Conference road trip in Detroit. Now, the Red Wings lost again today, but they managed to take it to overtime against Dallas. So they did get 1 point, and they currently stave off the Columbus Blue Jackets, who did win their game. Although, based on points percentage, I think actually Detroit's out of a playoff spot now. But as we look forward here, the Flames and the Red Wings meeting on March the 16th. The Red Wings beat the Flames in Calgary back on December the 10th. What are you looking for from the Flames and from Detroit heading into this one?
I just hope the Flames play a full 60. I think the challenge for them is like they played one game where they played almost a 60 against the Devils. I think they played a pretty buttoned up, structured game, and they managed to get a win out of it. They had to hold on for dear life, but they managed to pick up a win. But you look at the other 3 games they've lost; they've been fairly incomplete games, and so a more complete 60 minutes is probably the main thing I'd be looking for on the 16th on Amazon Prime.
It's a Prime game. We got 2 Prime games this month, one in Colorado on the 30th. Pike, 6 games at home between those 2 Prime games, and this is a real hodgepodge of opponents. You got some bottom feeders in St. Louis and Vancouver. You've got a 2-time defending Cup champ that's kind of fallen from grace in the Florida Panthers. You've got a borderline playoff team in the LA Kings. You've got a current division leader in the Anaheim Ducks and another one in the Tampa Bay Lightning. Buffalo's surpassed Tampa Bay, but a division leading contender in the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is going to be a real interesting stretch for the Calgary Flames. It could be a stretch that keeps them closer to the teams that are ahead of them, or that really puts them into the basement for good.
Oh, gee. I'm just looking ahead to that Saturday night game on the 28th.
Oh, man.
What kind of a crowd/game are we going to get for a Saturday night game between the 32nd place Canucks and a potentially 31st place Flames?
I don't know, but I hope I'm not on this show for that game. And in fact, I'm not.
I think it's an in the dome game.
It's an in the dome game. Thank goodness. Oh man. Yeah, and the dome's got that game, and they've also got the Florida game. So if you are in the mood for some more swearing on this show, with also some good takes, you can watch those 2 games, those 2 post-game shows. I know there have been people in the chat who have just been clamoring for some more in the domes. So there you go. Some looks at the road ahead, courtesy of your Prairie Toyota dealers. Pike, I don't know about you, but you know, for some of these games where you're not maybe doing the Afterburner, where you're just, chilling on the couch in your little studio with your Funko Pops and your bobbleheads. Is that a Tom Selleck bobblehead behind you?
No, that's Ron Swanson.
Oh, it looks like Tom Selleck. Okay. Well, anyway, if you're just hanging out there, what have you? Well, maybe for this next little 6-game homestand, maybe you should make your way over to the Unicorn, because, if you don't already have a night planned out, there's a chance that going to the Unicorn can take you to a variety of different places. You can go have a seat at their bar and order a $7 game day pint of Molson. And you're sitting there, and all of a sudden you get a little tap on the shoulder that says, hey, guess what? You're going to the Dome. And all of a sudden, a night has just gone from a a solid 8 out of 10 because you're at the Unicorn, to a 10 out of 10 because you were at the Unicorn and now you're going to the Dome. It's a great spot. 2 locations, 223 8th Ave Southwest, 1919 4th Street Southwest. It is a real hot spot. And I know we've bandied it about for our draft lottery live show on May the 4th. I want to see some of those TVs in their 8th Ave location just showing it live from our studio, because I think they got 3 floors. They can put our live reaction on one TV. I want to make some calls.
Can we do that?
Sure, we can.
We should talk to them.
Why couldn't we? We could. It could be a huge celebration.
You could fill a studio with stuff I don't know about technology or broadcasting. So
yeah, of course. You could just like put in a Kindle stick or something and plug it into the TV and just have it showing whatever you want. You could put this show on the TV. Not that anybody would want to watch this show on a television, but
we want people to stay in the bar. We don't want people to flee.
True. I mean, I think the Jersey is enough to. Jersey alone is enough to keep people tuned in.
And I believe I forget which game it is. I'll have to look it up. But on this coming homestand, we will start the countdown of the last 50 home games at the Saddle Dome.
Ooh. Wow. Pike, so the day that
everybody wear black. You don't have to necessarily wear a veil yet. But in a year we'll start. People will come with bagpipes. We'll give her a good send off. But we begin the final 50 during this coming homestand.
The day that they explode the Saddle Dome will be one of the saddest days of my life.
I don't necessarily think they have to explode it. I think there's probably like one brick in the bowels of the Saddle Dome that's like the keystone where you just pull it out and run for the door, and the whole building just starts collapsing down on itself. Like
the Saddle Dome deserves to go out with a bang. I want to see. I will be watching. I will 100% be watching when it happens.
I mean, there's a non-zero chance that we'll be doing like on the scene coverage of the demolition.
Yeah, like they did it with like what, the Metrodome, was that in Minnesota or whatever?
To be fair, like when they demolished the corral, they had to do it so slowly, and like they did it during the pandemic, and like everyone was at home hiding from viruses. So like that was a weird one. But I think I hope the Saddle Dome gets a more ignominious send off than the old corral did.
Yeah. Ooh, this is interesting on the out of town. Utah had a 2-0 lead over Pittsburgh, but now the Penguins have stormed back with goals from Anthony Mantha, Tommy Novak, and Brian Rust. And they have a 3-2 lead over the Mammoth here in the third period. Also, Seattle has taken a 2-1 lead over the Vancouver Canucks at the Rogers Arena. Yeah, I don't know what that crowd is going to look like next Saturday, but we shall see. It's going to be a real toilet bowl, to say the least.
It'll be one of the rare Calgary-Vancouver games where fans of one team will tell the other team, "You guys suck," and they're like, "Oh God, I hope so." So I mean, it's just going to be a weird energy, and I've never seen. As an aside, I think it's kind of weird we don't have a name for the rivalry, because like outside of Vancouver or outside of Edmonton, I think Vancouver is Calgary's best playoff rival. LA, I would argue, is their third best rival, but. Why don't we have a name for the rivalry? At some point, we're going to have to workshop something. But yeah, it's going to be one of the rare games where nobody is hoping to win in terms of the fan base. And like, I don't know, once you get down to like the last, 10, 12 games of the season, I don't know. On the ice might be a weird energy too.
Yes, I don't know if you have it queued up here, but we do have a very special 2-page spread to share from Flaming Foods, the official 80s cookbook of the Calgary Flames. These are 3 recipes from Lanny and Ardell McDonald. And as the first page says, if there's one name synonymous with the Flames, it's Lanny McDonald. Probably still true to this day. And we have 3 recipes here that you are free to try if you wish. An amaretto cheese ball, Joanne's All-Star Dessert, and Mac's Christmas Cheer. This isn't really a meal. These are all like sort of like finger food,
like hors d'oeuvres or whatever.
Yeah. But like we could do this at the holiday show, like next year's holiday show. Also, I like this from Yuri. What is light rum? Like 28%. That's
like light in
fun.
terms of calories or alcohol content?
Well, like Joanne's All-Star Dessert calls for 3 tablespoons of quote unquote light rum. And also, oh my goodness, you're mixing orange sherbet and chocolate ice cream with bananas. Oh my goodness. Oh no.
Okay, we'll call Boom. I'm pretty sure Boom can help coordinate kitchens.
There's 3 types of ice cream in this. There's vanilla ice cream. There's chocolate.
Doesn't that sound exciting though?
Doesn't
that sound like an affront to nature and God?
Vanilla ice cream, orange sherbet, and chocolate ice cream. That is remarkable. And you're supposed to garnish it with sliced strawberries. Well, yeah. As Ken says, this dude is really stretching this book bit. Ken, aren't you just riveted?
Ken, are you new here?
If
you're not used to Mike Gould beating a dead horse by now, you probably haven't been paying attention the last 5 years.
Ken, would you like me to call Colin Oates back? I can play Private Eyes if you want. I can play one-on-one. We got 3 songs left to play. So if any of these topics of discussion are not suitable, it's okay. I got them on speed dial. They're number 1. Derek Newman's number 2. Okay, so appreciate it.
It's Derek Newman, Colin Oates, your better half, and Poison Control.
That's right.
And then maybe the fire department.
Yeah. And then my hookup for St. John Flames jerseys. One day I will tell
you broke into the building and bought one.
How did you know?
Because you told everyone.
Okay. I was going to wait to tell the story, but fine. Last night I was at the Calgary International Auto and Truck Show down at the BMO Center. And after I was done there, the Wranglers were midway through their game against the Manitoba Moose. And if you're not aware, they lock the doors after the first period.
You're bearing the lead. A 7-2 win.
A 7-2 win.
The lowly Manitoba Moose.
Yeah. A 7-2 win for the Wranglers. Aidar Suniev had maybe his best game of the season. He looked great. I didn't see any of the game, though, really. I saw the highlights. And I ran over because I ran into my buddy who works in the Flames retail department at the show. And he was like, yeah, we're probably going to run out of the St. John jerseys tonight. And I was like, oh, man, because they weren't selling them online. And so I ran over, and they locked the doors after the first period. They're not supposed to let anybody in. And so I waited for somebody to come out, and I snuck in. And so I walk in, and there's a security guard. And obviously it's the atrium, like it's at the west entrance. I'm not actually in the arena. It's just like
you're in between. You're in that area between the metal detector gates and the area where they have like the box office and the Fanatic store.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the vestibule, and so there's a security guard right in front of me, and I sort of lock eyes with him, and I immediately beeline it towards the Flames store, and I walk in, and I'm like, "There's the jerseys on the rack. They didn't have a size 50. That's my size." I asked them if they could grab one. They did. They brought it up from downstairs. And while I'm waiting, security guard has walked over and is staring directly in the team store at me. And so I just sort of lean over. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to cause a scene or anything. I did sneak in. I'm sorry. I just wanted to buy a jersey. They didn't have any online. And they walked over and they told him, and he laughed. And I walked over and I said, no hard feelings. I just wanted a jersey. And they gave me a discount. They were very nice. They said I was dedicated, so they let me have it for 10% off.
Yeah. In general, folks, don't do what Mike does.
Well, like but this is one of the problems with the Saddle Dome that will be addressed with the new arena, is that there will actually be an external access to the team store, I think, during games.
There will be, but during games, I think they'd have to sort of do something with the inside doors during games. So like I don't know how they would. I think they might have to do something similar during games at Scotia Place. So once again, Mike Gould be running afoul of security in a whole new building.
Look, I didn't want to cause a scene. I was perfectly ready to be like, oh, I'm sorry if you don't want me to get a jersey tonight.
My big question is when you poke your head in, and like you could have just gone to security and saying, hey, I'm not trying to sneak in. I just want to go to the store. And they would have gone like, okay, you crazy person, you lovable scamp, just get in there and give us your money. But don't make security's lives more difficult, man. Like that's a tough gig.
I know. I didn't. I think he was. Honestly, I think he was probably bored. but it's
not by the game. 7-2 win.
Not
Arseny
by the game.
Sergeyev picks up a big win. Finally gets some run support.
Hey, they're having the St. Patrick's thing at the Dome tonight for the Roughnecks. I hear it's a big old party.
Yeah, because they can't do it on St. Patrick's Day because that's in between two Flames games, and it's Michael Backlund's birthday. So, but those of you who have yet to get him anything, 17th is Backlund's birthday. He'll be turning 37. So get him something. Donate something. Donate to one of the many charities that Michael Backlund's affiliated with, and in the dedication thing that they offered, saying, in honor of Michael Backlund's birthday, I would say donate $37 to a charity you think Michael Backlund likes.
Or just go run over to the Saddle Dome. I hear there's something going on right there, and they're probably still selling St. John Flames jerseys. So
they're gonna be out because they don't do big print runs of these because they don't want to have a lot of extra inventory. Because I hate to tell you this, they're moving buildings in a year and a half, and they don't want to have a lot of stuff to move.
You know what I saw at the Dome last night while I was in there, totally legally, Jesus. But they have Craig Conroy jerseys. They have Craig Conroy jerseys, and they have Matt Vegridden jerseys, and they have Devin Cooley jerseys, and they now have Zane Parekh Blasty jerseys. Those are all things that were definitely not there the last time I was there, and they all looked great. Especially the Conroy jerseys; those were awesome.
Yeah, because it's the old design, right?
Yeah, it's the 04s. They're doing like a CCM vintage type thing, although I think it's like Fanatics vintage, but
it's still better than nothing. That's pretty cool.
It's super nice. They have the again.
I'm kind of I think I'm biased because I know a lot of people who work in that department. I kind of like how they're doing a lot of cool experimental stuff in the retail department, especially like I'll be pretty blunt. I really love the AHL product and the Western League product to a lesser extent, but I think the AHL is really embraced. Let's do weird promotions and fun jerseys and let's have fun with it. Because I think the Wrangler Winterfest jersey is objectively great every year.
Yeah.
I think last year was sort of like they stylized it so it looked like a knit sweater, but it was a hockey jersey. It was phenomenal. Like minor league hockey is the king of weird, cute, really kitschy theme jerseys, and I am here for it. And there's a cross section of fans that, especially the Wranglers fan, especially who collect all of the weird jerseys. There's I want to say maybe 150 people who are just keeping that industry going by just spending their hard-earned money on these great weird jerseys. And I will if any of you have all these jerseys and you're listening, the people in retail department think that you guys rule, and they hope if there's anything you want to see or hear, next time you're in the Saddle Dome, tell someone who works for the staff, man, it'd be cool if you could do, and just tell them your idea. Because honestly, they love weird ideas because the weird ideas always turn into cool stuff.
Well, put it this way. I would not have gone to such great lengths to try and secure a St. John Flames jersey if I didn't think they were totally killer. They are fantastic. And I think the Flames and Wranglers have done some killer stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to come out with next year because I've heard there's some really cool stuff that they got planned for the last year of Flames hockey at the Saddle Dome, as far as on ice and sort of like aesthetic.
Every game is going to be Roughnecks style. They're going to play a bagpipe, playing a funeral dirge every minute of every game. You're all going to get sick of bagpipes by about the first game, basically.
Yeah, something
I
like
love
that.
bagpipes, but I don't need to hear them all the time.
Yeah. Hey, if the Wranglers keep playing like this, wearing these St. John jerseys, which they're going to wear tomorrow, again at the Saddle Dome, head on down to the Saddle Dome, go watch the Wranglers play the Moose tomorrow. I think it's the afternoon. And enjoy that. Yeah. So head on down. They're going to wear them again tomorrow. If they win that game, they should just keep them wearing them for the rest of the season.
If they run Manitoba show again, just default to the St. John jerseys forever.
You are the St. John Flames now. But yeah, sorry I snuck in. I really didn't mean anything bad by it.
If you want to get technical, you weren't in a ticketed area.
No.
So, and no one beat you up, and security knew you were there.
I didn't steal the jersey.
So
I didn't steal I paid for the jersey.
You went in through a means under which you were allowed to, and you gave them money. You went out of your way. You took, I would say, heroic means to scratch that retail itch that you had. So
Got to
I
spend
still
money.
don't. They should have charged you extra. I would argue, but
Yeah.
you know,
No, they were very
but,
they were very kind. Though everybody in a previous life, I actually worked that job. I very briefly worked in that store. So I
How
was.
the hell are we at an hour 20 for
I know.
this
Let's
game?
get to the Bet 365 bets for tomorrow. We're just having fun. It's been one of those nights. It's a Saturday night, and we got 6 games on the docket tomorrow. Some games with legit lottery ramifications. The Blues and Jets. I mean, a game that the Flames would love to go to a 3-point overtime scenario. San Jose, Ottawa. This is an interesting one. Ottawa won today. They beat the Anaheim Ducks. Speaking of the Ducks, they're playing the Canadians. For the purposes of Vegas's draft pick, the Flames really want Anaheim to win that one. Leafs, Wild, Panthers, Kraken, and of course our favorites, the Edmonton Oilers, taking on Nashville. Pike, a little quirk with the Vegas pick that I don't think enough people have internalized, and I certainly hadn't internalized it until this week, is that with Vegas, the difference in that pick value, even if they finish, let's say, only like 12th or 13th in the NHL standings, if they win the division, that pick instantly becomes 10 spots worse, even if they are by far the worst division winner in the National Hockey League, because all 4 division winners get locked into certain spots in the draft.
That's right. The 4 division winners pick immediately before the conference finalists.
Yeah. So there is a huge incentive for the Calgary Flames to cheer for the Anaheim Ducks and even hold your nose the Edmonton Oilers to a certain degree, but really the Anaheim Ducks.
If you're the Flames, you want the Vegas Golden Knights to be a wild card team. I mean, they're not going to miss. You want them to be as low in the standings as possible and not win the division. And then you want them to win a Stanley Cup. That's the dream scenario. You want them to either be
I disagree.
And then win the Stanley Cup so you can maximize that pick. So you get that extra second. You get the extra first.
Strongly disagree. I strongly disagree.
You just don't want to see Rasmus happy.
No, not at all. I would personally, I would rather have pick 16 this year or pick 17 this year and a future second than pick 32 this year and a future first. Who knows where it'll be.
We should check out Puckpedia's Peary draft pick tracker, because the folks at Puckpedia have a basically, when folks like, oh, what's this draft pick worth and sort of trade value, they have assigned values to all the draft picks. So I will look into that, because I'm curious as to what the pick value difference is combined, the Flames getting what combination of picks.
Well, I will say this. So if the season ended today, right? Vegas, pending the results of today's game, the Flames would get pick 18 from Vegas. They would get pick 18 from Vegas pending the result of their game tonight. If however, with Vegas up 3-0 on Chicago, if the season ended immediately after Vegas beats Chicago tonight, assuming they do, that pick could be no higher than 25th. It could be no higher than 25th. So that's a 7-spot swing right there. And in all likelihood, we've seen teams go on a run. Vegas could go on a run. That pick could be no higher than 29th.
The house always wins, my friend.
So that's that's a difference of, in the standings, 1 point. That is a difference of the Golden Knights currently at 74 points, the Ducks at 75 points. And if the Golden Knights even finish 1 point ahead of the Ducks, and even if they are in, let's say, 13th in the league at that point, that pick will automatically go no higher than 25th.
You just gave me PTSD with your if the season ended today thing, because I remember 2020.
Yeah, me too.
We don't talk about that.
We do not. In any event, so just some stuff to look at for tomorrow over at Bet365, where it is truly never ordinary. Use that code NATION and download the app and get in on the game. Pike, one more thing to do before we head off for the night. We have a couple of super chats. Super chat proceeds benefit the youth centers of Calgary. They're for the children. It is for the children.
Because we've been reading these comments from these. They're wonderful people, but freeloaders that gave the children nothing except their clever insights.
Yeah, and we've talked about some of these guys already a little bit, but this is from Ken, who says for $20, Hey, fellas, who would
Thank
you
you,
pick
Ken.
in the 2026 draft and why? I personally am leaning to Ivar Stenberg. Seems like a complete player and NHL ready. Also, Mike, please take me off the naughty list. Jackson, you put me there. I put you on the naughty list? Really? I didn't know that. I was,
You got nothing.
I think
You're giving Ken Cole for Christmas after the $20 donation to the Youth Centers of Calgary.
I will say this. So I was at the auto show and I met a fella who came up to me. He saw me there and he said, "Hi, you're Mike." And I was like, "Yes, I am," which was, first of all, strange in its own right, but nice. Don't get me wrong. And he said he was the one who made the $699 super chat a few months ago.
Did you give that person a hug?
I was like, "Wow, that was you?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was me." So to you, sir, thank you again. And to Ken, thank you as well.
You didn't get like a selfie or something and give them some sort of level of fame or infamy?
We chatted for a while. He was a nice guy. Really nice
He's
guy.
obviously a nice guy. He's
Really
donating
nice guy.
$699.
I told him I thought it was
these wonderful children.
I told him I thought it was a mistake. Like I was like, I thought you meant to donate $699. And he was like, "Nope." And I was like, "Wow, that is killer. Do it again sometime."
Yeah. I love Ivar Stenberg. Just the idea that like he's one of the older kids in the draft. He's a late September birthday, so he's going to be one of the older players. And normally you're like, "Oh, he's like a September birthday. That means he's bigger and older and smarter than the other kids. He's just shoving teenagers around in the Western League." We love the Western League, but that's always the perception of like October and September birthdays. You're just bigger kids. That's just how they are. He hasn't been doing that because he's in Sweden. He's been playing in the SHL and playing very well. One of the better players. I think he's going to be like this in terms of points per game, the second best draft eligible season by any player in the SHL. I forget who the first one was, but second best in the SHL history for a draft eligible player. He's a winger. He's not a center. It'd be nicer if he was a center, but winger, good, plays in a strong league, plays a mature game, was very good at the World Juniors and helping, is a difference maker for Sweden when they won gold. He's just really good. I mean, what's the old, like if you finish first, you probably hope for someone like Gavin McKenna. But if you want to quote unquote settle for Stenberg, I think you'll be perfectly fine. And then Stenberg and Backlund become best friends, and you can get a cool web series out of Backlund and Stenberg having wacky misadventures and things like, Stenberg getting his first couple of years in the NHL on Backlund's wing feels kind of fun. And I think they should do that if that happens, because the Flames always would like more Swedes if they can get them.
I don't disagree with anything you've said. I have a feeling that the Flames will have no control over whether they are able to draft McKenna or Stenberg. It will be decided for them ultimately.
They're going to get whoever's left.
Exactly. Again, I go back to Carson Karls, who is just having an unbelievable season with the PG Cougars. He's a left shot defenseman. In my mind, an incredible potential partner for Zane Parekh on the blue line, a 6'2" lefty. Who just had his 75th point of the season in game number 57 with the PG Cougars tonight. 3 assists, 3 primary assists, as the Cougars have a 5-0 lead right now in their game against the Wenatchee Wild. He is a monster. And I mean, I am at the point personally where I value this guy at number 3. He would be number 3 on my personal list. I think the Flames could maybe get him at number 4. Just with Keaton Verhoff being there. I just think with Verhoff, he's another righty. I would be a little bit more averse, and I just don't love his skating. I think he's a good player. I just think his skating might hold him back a little bit.
He doesn't love your skating.
Well, that's fine. My skating is not very good, but it's fine. But Carson Karls, I just think, has all the tools to be a legit dynamo of a two-way defenseman at the next level, who will be just like a guy who has every tool needed to play 1,000 games in the NHL and be like a really good player while doing it.
You mean 600 goals, 1,300 points?
Exactly. That's Carson Karls right there.
The old Robbie Shrimp prognostication.
The old Robbie Shrimp. He's from Cypress River, Manitoba, is Carson Karls. And
That's a good name for a town.
I want him to be a Calgary Flame. We shall see. We have one more super chat, and this one is from Lord Bolo. And this is about another future draft prospect in Maddox Schultz, who is coming, I think, the year after Landon DuPont.
This year is McKenna / Verhoff / Stenberg. Next year is do bad for DuPont. The year after that is suck for Schultz.
Yeah. Maddox Schultz, another Regina Pats super prospect, who already has 26 points in 32 games as a 16-year-old who turns 17. He turns 16 tomorrow. EP already says that he's 16, but he's 16 tomorrow. His birthday is tomorrow. So he has 26 points in 32 games as a 15-year-old with the Regina Pats, which is crazy. And I don't think Regina is even particularly strong yet. They will be. But yeah, I mean, again, there are always these guys who look so impressive years ahead of time, and a lot of them turn out to be very, very good players. Some of them don't. But sure, for the 2028 draft, I mean, that looks like, as of right now, the prospective number one guy. We're already looking at next year, though. I mean, there's that Nazar Privalov fella over in Russia. There is Alexis Joseph in the QMJHL, the big center. And, of course, there's DuPont. And, I mean, if I can't be on this show with a St. John Flames jersey and say that I don't want the Flames to pick DuPont, so what are we going to do, right?
That's right.
That's right. Thank you.
If only Steve Bajan had children who were draft eligible, then we'd have a different conversation.
Here is how Pike and I, our brief in-person conversation earlier today went. We show up to the studio. Pike says, nice jersey. I say, thanks. Pike says, you should get Steve Bajan on the back of it. I say, oops, I don't have my keys. And Pike says, oh, I guess we better go home. And I say, yup.
That's right.
That was pretty much it.
Two-time Calgary Flame, Steve Bajan.
Steve Bajan, a player who I believe wore 5 different jersey numbers with the Calgary Flame.
His first season, he wore 3 different jerseys because he was kept going up and down. And so the way it works is basically they give you a jersey, and the league doesn't want you to change it once you start wearing it. But if someone else comes in, one of your minors, they basically get a choice of, okay, what do you want? I want the number that Steve Bajan just had. And so that happened to him twice. He was up and down so much that they kept reassigning his jersey. Imagine his family members. Like, I can't imagine many people outside of immediate family members were buying Steve Bajan jerseys when he was a rookie. He was good, but he just wasn't that level of player. But imagine if you got one and you had to replace the number twice. Or I hope that his family got 3 jerseys. Like, the Flames just kept saying, oh, here's another one for the house kind of thing. Because then he'd have a wall of jerseys for every time he changed his number.
Well, Pike, we are 1 hour and 35 minutes into this show. We just talked about Steve Bajan for a bit. We got through our last super chats. My ring light just burnt out. And there's no better way that I can think of to end this version of the show than with this.
Welcome to Colin Oates, your emergency Hall and Oates helpline. To hear one-on-one, please press 1. To hear it go, please press 2. To hear Manita, please press 3.
You're a rich girl, and you're
Gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money. Thanks, everybody, for watching Afterburner. Have a great night. We'll be back with you on Monday.